Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to show you how to layer our Poinsettia Wreath layering stencils. This is a 5 stencil collection. There are 2 layers for the foliage and 3 layers for the petals and the berries. And here is stencil number 1. You can see the giant one right in the center. And we also have some additional information etched on the top left hand portion of the stencil. It says foliage layer light. So we're going to go in with our lighter green ink for this first stencil. And before you take your stencil off, after you blend the entire layer, blend off all 4 corners of the stencil and onto the cardstock to create your layering marks so that you have a blended square, and that's where you're going to place the next stencil. So for stencil 2, you can see the large etched 2 right in the center. And then we also have additional information on the top left-hand corner of the stencil. It says foliage layer dark on stencil 2, and we're going to go in with our darker green. And all of the inks that I'm using is on screen on the top left-hand corner as we blend each layer. So next I'm going to go in with stencil number 3, and we're going to use our cherry dye ink, but this is the first layer of our poinsettia petals and the berries. So you don't want to go too dark on this layer. If you go too dark, you're going to have to go darker on layer 4 and 5. So don't go too dark on stencil 3. So once we're done with 3, I'm going to take that stencil off, and this is stencil 4. You can see it says petal layer midtone. And we're just going to place this stencil right inside our blended square, and then we'll use our Valentine Red Dye Ink and our wide set blending brushes to do all of our blending for layers 1 through 4. For stencil 5, I do switch over to our standard size brush, but you can use the wide set brush if you have that. So this is stencil 5. It says petal layer dark on the top left hand portion of this stencil. And again, we're just going to place it right inside our blended square and use our nice deep wine dye ink for this last layer. So for our Poinsettia Wreath stencils, you just go in numerical order with the numbers that are etched right on the stencil, and you go light to dark with the 2 foliage layers and light to dark for the petal and berry layers. We do have a coordinating die set for the stencils. It's the same die set that we created for our Poinsettia Wreath stamp set. So you're just going to locate this narrow thin protrusion on the bottom portion of the larger die. It's a 2 die collection. So once you've identified that narrow protrusion, that goes on the lower portion of your wreath. You're just going to tape that down. And then the second part of the die collection, there's kind of a little, protrusion cluster on the top left-hand portion, or the wider set part of the die. You're just going to place that so that it's on the northern part of that middle negative area. So you can use both dies in conjunction with each other, or you can use the outer larger die by itself and you can just stamp a sentiment right inside the center, or vice versa. I didn't connect the 2 pieces so that the die collection will be a little bit more versatile. One more thing to note is that this layering stencil collection does not coordinate with the Poinsettia Wreath stamp, so do not buy both stencils and stamps to use them together because they do not coordinate. Only the dies coordinate with both products. So that's all from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this layering tutorial. I'll see you guys next time.